Welcome back. You're watching the live coverage of the United States presidential election on Channels Television here in our studios in Lagos. Of course, we hope to be hearing from the United States Consul General, Mr. John Bray. But ahead of that, what has been the influence of African Americans resident in the United States of America? Well, it's one of the issues that we hope to be discussing in a moment. But Tokwe, I watched a very funny video online, and it went this way. This was the storyline. A group of African Americans were going out to vote. Then one of them diverted, spent some time with his girlfriend, and then when he woke up very late at night, he heard the news that Donald Trump had won the election by one vote. And now, whose vote was that supposed to have been? In any case, his fellow African Americans said, look, guy, we're checking out of the country. We're going over to Nigeria, where we have our kinsfolk. Well, that was actually supposed to be a joke in itself. But then that also brings us to the issue of, the position of the African American in the United States. I mean, is it that their position is will be that precarious under a Trump administration? What would be your thoughts on that?
I don't think I'm going to give you my thoughts, but I'm going to give you the thoughts of Professor Wale Soyinka, who said that immediately he hears that Donald Trump wins the U.S. election, that he would not wait for him to come into office and carry out all his plans, but that he would tear up his green card immediately, once he hears that Donald Trump has been declared president. So I think that gives you a feel of what African Americans feel about the Trump presidency.
Come to think of it, I mean, that sort of dramatic reaction to an eventuality like that, well, I'm actually waiting to see if that will happen. But then, you simply can't make that sort of prediction which way the U.S. presidential election will be going. Well, at the moment, you saw some minutes ago that the last votes were being cast in that particular election. And of course, hopefully we'll be taking a look at a more intellectual perspective on the role of the African American in the United States of America. And to discuss this, we are being joined by Professor Austin Okigbo, a professor of African Studies at the University of Colorado over in the United States. Well, thanks for joining us, Professor Okigbo.
Thank you, Kenny, and good evening, everybody.
Well, we were talking moments ago about the role of the African American in the United States presidential election in terms of impact. Where does the African American stand as far as the direction of the results is concerned?
Let me ask, make sure this is correct. When you talk about Africa, are you talking about the traditional Americans or African diaspora?
Well, actually, we're not just looking at the Africans of American origin, but of course the African diaspora in America.
Yeah, the contemporary African diaspora.
Absolutely.
To be honest, yes. To answer your question very clearly, majority of people of African origin, that is the contemporary, what we call here contemporary African diaspora, are very worried and very engaged in this very election cycle because of the rhetoric that has characterized this very presidential election. For the most part, everybody is concerned about it, particularly because of the big that part of the conversation, and people feel like they are targeted, not only Latinos, but people from Africa have become targets in the election cycle.
Well, earlier we had a chat with the the public affairs officer at the United States Consulate, Mrs. Darcy Zotter, and she did mention the fact that in recent times, the number of Nigerians studying in the United States has increased significantly. The figure she gave was something approaching 19%. And of course, she also said that she looks forward to having, those statistics either increasing or stabilizing in the next administration. The question now is that what impact is the Nigerian diaspora making over there as far as academics is concerned, and saying that it's a community you also belong to?
Yes, a very enormous impact across the board, whether we are looking at the impact at the Ivy League universities, the research one, public universities, and other private and liberal arts institutions. It might interest you to know that recently at least 3 Nigerian kids have been admitted, who gained admission into the top 9 Ivy League universities, all with full funding. Just in May, a huge percentage of the awards that were given out at Howard University were received by Nigerians. So across the board, Nigerian students are really waxing strong, not only those who were born here, but even those who are coming from the continent. So it's very, waxing very strong, and we want to the stability continue.
Now, Professor Okigbo, let me ask you about the very bitter and divisive rhetoric that has colored this election. Now, so many African Americans, so many minorities in the United States are afraid of a Trump presidency because they feel he's probably going to deport so many of them when he gets into office. But let me ask you, as someone in the United States, just how easy will it be for Donald Trump to actually carry out all these plans that he has said he will do when he becomes president without the backing of Congress?
Well, I tell you, it's